All right. Good morning, administration and students. Welcome to the Topeka West Candidate Forum. I'd like to introduce our candidates really quickly before we begin. From District 1, Position 4, we have Lana Kambacher, Lalo Munoz. From District 2, Position 5, we have Sue Boley. From District 3, Position 6, we have Dr. Melanie Stewart Campbell. Our members at large today are Dr. Richard Bonebrake, Antoine A.C. Collins, and the Reverend John Williams. The Topeka City Council District 8 also has Spencer Duncan and Chris Phelps here today. I'll now be giving the mic over to Zion Jackson.
Hello. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to address the following questions. First, they will provide an introduction, and then the second question will be, if you are elected, what is your #1 priority to address?
All right, let's begin today with Chris Phelps.
Good morning. My name is Chris Phelps, and I'm glad to be here. I am a Topeka West graduate, graduating class of '89. And so, fun story to talk about real quick is in just about 13 days from now, is celebrating the 35th anniversary of the Topeka West Twister. I was up in the E building, but it hit this building here, A building. And so I got to experience that, and my car was destroyed out here in the A parking lot. And so it had good fun stories to talk about. And that's 35 years ago, kind of hard to believe. And secondly, the question I'd answer, if I'm elected, my first priority is going to be the city streets of Topeka, not necessarily the infrastructure, it's actually the safety of our city streets. That has to do, there's a lot of things that go with that. The huge umbrella, we can talk about budgeting and things like that from the police department, all these different subpoints. But the main thing that I would be tackling is our safety of our streets. As I wrote what I was going to talk about, we have 33 homicides. Unfortunately, my friends, that several of those are your age and below. I believe there's 8 or 9 homicides this year that are 18 and under. And to me, that's just flat out unacceptable. And it's going to take an army. It's going to take not just myself or even Mr. Spencer if he were to get reelected, but it's going to take you guys as well. It's going to take the city of Topeka to work together to come up with what we're going to do to solve the crime issue that we have. One thing, when I talk about budgeting to go with that, it's going to be budgeting to give more city police officers, and more importantly, school resource officers that can be inside the school and to know what's going on in the schools and not be police officers per se in the schools, but to be more of a confidant in the schools with the students and know what's going on with that. And so I want to partner with the school districts and the city of Topeka and the police chief to work together to get a collaboration between the schools as well as in student resource officers as well. And that'd be what I'd be doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up to the podium, Spencer Duncan.
Thank you. I have a my timer there for you. All right, I'm going to flip the script and start with the issue first. So for me, it's housing with a giant exclamation point, because housing is what I consider a catalyst issue, which means if I can solve our lack of affordable housing and our lack of housing in general, it helps me with about 12 other issues, right? If we have more affordable housing, your cost of living goes down, which helps everybody's financial situation. We've got a huge homeless crisis right now. That homelessness crisis is only going to be dealt with more housing. Public safeties. Many of our public safety issues are directly related to our housing crisis. Same with domestic violence situations, right? Drug issues. Keeping kids in school because a stable home life helps everybody knowing where they're going every day, and people with mental health issues. A trigger for them is not having a stable home life. Stable, where am I going to live next month if I can't pay the rent? So housing for me has been an issue in the 4 years I've been on the council. I've done a lot of stuff to try to get us a better situation down that road, and that will continue to be a huge move for me because of just how important it is to everything else we do in this city. Second thing I'm going to say is that it's not because I'm sitting in this high school, but it's been a fascinating issue. My day job is I do government affairs work for what they call the League of Kansas Municipalities. Not quite as cool as it sounds, but I represent all the cities across the state of Kansas in that role. I was in Hays, Kansas last week, and there is a push out there to allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote. And they asked me in my capacity as a day job whether the Kansas Constitution would allow that, whether the state law allows that. Only in local elections. It wouldn't apply to statewide or national races. But if it's city council and school board races, we could get 16 and 17-year-olds to vote. There's a serious push for that out west. I'm going to get the answers to that. And I think that's a fascinating conversation to have, not just because of 16 and 17-year-olds voting, what that would look like, who I'm talking to, and what my priorities are, but what these school board members' priorities would be if you were actually electing them also on a regular basis. So it's a fascinating topic that's come up in my day job, and something I'm more than willing to pursue here locally in Topeka also. So my last minute, a couple things about me that you need to know. I grew up in the same district I represent today. I'm between 21st and 29th Gage Boulevard, all the way out to the county line. I grew up on Burnett Road, not far from McEachern, right next to Crestview. So I'm very proud to know this area very well. I am also a Topeka West graduate. All you really need to know about that is my freshman year, they saw the smoking section, and there were students and faculty smoking together, and then they got rid of that after my freshman year. That was 30 years ago, so how times have changed all for the positive. Also, we didn't have these nice walkways, so good for you, covered. We had to run in the rain, so good for you. That is real progress. And so with that, I'm married. I did marry a Topeka High grad. I apologize for that. She's still pretty awesome, but I work to improve that every day and make her love West a little more than Topeka High. So if you need anything, DuncanforTopeka.com, DuncanforTopeka.com. You can read all about me. You can get in touch with me, and I will help you regardless of whether you're a voter or not. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next up to the stand is Lalo Munoz.
Thank you. Even as a young person, certainly by your age, my sense was that life wasn't equal for everyone. And I think it's that realization that has fueled the work that I do in lots of different areas. So whether it's in my day job where I practice immigration law, helping families who can't afford attorneys because everyone deserves legal representation, or whether it's serving as a chair for Topeka, the Washington Tech East, and creating literally a new school in East Topeka that provides opportunities for individuals to improve their lives through hard work, or whether it means serving on the Board of Education for the last 4 years. All of my work has been about looking at individuals where they start and making sure, and especially in this particular case, making sure all students have an equal opportunity and equal access to possibilities that will improve their lives. That's what drives me. Welcome, my name is Lalo Munoz. I am a parent of 3 kids here in Topeka Public Schools. They go to schools in East Topeka, and there are a lot of different reasons why I'm running for school board, and I'll share just a couple of them. One, I think it's important to have parents on the school board. They are most closest to understanding student needs as well as parent concerns, and I think that's really important. I hope that we'll continue that here in the future. Also, I think safety is our very first priority. You all need to be safe when you're here. We talked about what's going on outside in the community. While you're here in under our supervision in schools and in our classrooms, we need to make sure to do everything we can to keep you all safe. So that's, I think, the first thing. And it also means different things. It means social and emotional wellness, to make sure you guys are doing good here, so you guys can be as successful as possible. And going back during COVID, it meant making sure that we have the safest protocols in place to make sure you guys students, teachers, and staff are protected. So that's first is safety. Second is equity, making sure that our curriculum is reflective of the diversity in our students, that all students at our schools feel welcomed and appreciated. And lastly, I think also standing up for public education and for teachers. Public education has been blamed for a lot of things. I think public education in our schools are the single greatest thing that's been able to create success in our communities and in our country. So I want to work to make sure that our public schools are as strong as possible. To the question of what would I focus on first is academic success. You all need to be as prepared as possible, and I want to do everything I can to make sure that we're graduating at a high rate and that our students, our young students, are doing well when it comes to reading and math. Thanks so much.
All right, let's have Lana Kamaker come up to the podium.
Hey guys, I like looking at y'all back there because I used to sit back when I was a student too. You know, everybody sort of mused back from it. I am from Topeka, originally graduated from Topeka High, not Topeka West. Sorry. I went to Roosevelt, Hartman, places like that when it was. Our schools were a lot different and our challenges were a lot different than you guys face now. You're our next leaders. All of you back here. You're intelligent, you're honest students. You're going to be our next leaders. We, as adults, owe it to you to do the best that we can do. I am a retired women's health nurse practitioner. I work as an RN at home, still working, 72 years old, but I like it. I enjoy it. What I want to do with school is there's not one issue. There's not one issue. We got low grades, we got kids not going to school, we got suicides in school, we got, you name it, we got it. But we need to find out what's causing all of it. And that's going to be my agenda. Let's get in there and find out what's causing it. Let's do something for you guys. Not with the adults, but it's not about us. It's about you. So hopefully we can get together and get an agenda that we look at what we need and not just look at as adults what people. So I think that's all. Because anything else, I know I was going to add more. That's about it.
All right, Subo, you're next.
I wanted to bring my drink up that I bought at the new coffee shop. Be sure to go to the coffee shop in the library when we are completed here. Good morning, my name is Sue Boley. I am a product at Topeka Public Schools as well. I happen to be a mother first. I raised my children before I went to college in my 30s. At that time, I was hired on at Topeka Public Schools. I am a retired teacher now of 22 years. I love Topeka Public Schools. And when I retired, I thought, I'm not done giving back to the students, to the staff, to our district, to our community. And so I decided I should run for school board. Big surprise, I won. So I am an incumbent and I am looking for 4 more years. My biggest issues, that when I saw that question, I thought, oh my gosh, how do I just pick one? Because when you're sitting on the school board, there are many. You have to think about so many people, so many students, so many staff. There's just a lot. But one thing I do know, when I ran the first time, I wanted to build our preschool program because I think success happens when we get our students early and start building on that foundation. And our preschool programs have improved. They have been extended. And so that is great. We still have more work there. But the important thing is that we have students on grade level by 3rd grade. Because when we have them on grade level at 3rd grade, they will be successful when they're your age. And so we need to work really hard at building that success, that foundation for education. So I would say making sure all of our students are on grade level by the end of 3rd grade, so success comes easier and helps students have more of a focus of what they want to do as they mature into our society without struggling through any academics. So that is one of my goals. I do also want to share, I met my future husband right around that corner. I was working the lighting board. I don't know if it's still there, but I was working the lighting board for one of the productions. and he decided he liked me. So I am so glad to be here, and I appreciate you inviting us and helping us to share our views for public education in our city, and go on the homeless situation and the housing. Yes, that would help us in public education as well. Thank you.
All right, next let's have Dr. Melanie Stewart Campbell up to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to thank Ms. Steinkuehler and Topeka West for hosting us this morning. It's very important to be civically engaged, and it's just exciting to be here. My name is Melanie Stewart Campbell, and a lot to say, but okay, I'm going to keep it in 3 minutes. So I am a mother of 2 Topeka Public School students, first and foremost, and they both attend Topeka High, and I'll get to that in a reason why they attend Topeka High. I'm a teacher, first of all, and I'm a parent, first of all, and second, I am an educator. So I have around 30 years experience as an educator in various roles. I have taught from preschool up through adults, and I've taught in Kansas. In fact, I used to teach in Topeka Public Schools. I taught at Ross Elementary. So I've taught in Kansas, I've taught in New York City, I've taught in Ecuador, I've taught in the Republic of Congo. And in these various roles, educational roles, I have come to really understand the public education system and all of its successes and all of its challenges. So I feel like I'm very uniquely qualified to continue to serve on the school board. And as Mr. Munoz and Ms. Boley, I am incumbent. I'm proudly serving in my 4th year as school board member. And in my capacity as school board member, I also serve on the Head Start Council, the Head Start Committee. So like Ms. Boley, I very, very much believe that we got to get them when they're young, and just education is so, so important at all levels, but especially in preschool when that brain is just so bright and ready to learn. I also serve on the policy committee, which drives so many of our decisions as a school board. And third, I serve on the dual language committee, which is why my children attend Topeka High, because Topeka High is the dual language high school. Okay. Also, my husband is a middle school teacher in Topeka Public Schools. And what else? Oh, I teach. So I'm a teacher, not in Topeka Public Schools, but I teach Spanish for an educational service center. And I'm also an instructional specialist and advocate for the Kansas Migrant Education Program. So, all right. Having said all of that, what is my #1 goal on the school board? So if I had to pick just one, my #1 goal would be to continue to find creative ways to recruit and retain culturally, linguistically, ethnically, racially diverse staff, because what's that? Oh, okay. Because yes, our staff, we really need for our staff to relate more to our students and to be a better reflection of our student population. And just also anything I can do to continue the improvement of our dual language program, where more and more students are bilingual and biliterate. And thank you very much.
All right, now let's move to Antoine A.C. Collins. Oh, well, in that case, then let's move to Dr. Richard Bonebrake.
I've been retired for 5 years, and I had to augment my income somehow, so I ran for school board. No, seriously, we are no longer an agrarian society. How many of you helped your parents with the corn or wheat harvest this year? I'm suspecting none. You know why we have summers off? It's so we can help with harvesting. We were #1 in international testing for math, science, and language until the early 90s. And now we're about 33rd out of 77. That was as of 2 years ago, that was before COVID. Lord only knows what's happened in the next 2 years. Nevertheless, Europe, Scandinavia, Far East, they're in school 10.5 months a year. They get a month off in August, a week at Christmas, and a week at semester break. In Kansas, what is our most important natural resource? Is it wheat, petroleum, water? I would contend it's our students. And we have a student drain. We're losing our educated students. Kansas tries to attract business by giving big tax breaks. We still don't have Medicaid expansion, no medical marijuana, and we're trying to destroy public schools with vouchers, even though 80% of people want the public school presence and culture. It's just frustrating that our legislature doesn't listen to us, and I think that's probably the most important thing we have to do is speak with our representatives. Although our individual representatives are always perfect, it's the group as a whole that is imperfect. We need to work on that. One of my beliefs is that we need to seek to understand, not to seek understanding. I want to find out what the problems are and deal with them. Now, personally, I've had 4 children who are graduates at Topeka High. I'm past president of Shawnee County Medical Society, staff president at Stormont Vale. I spent 20 years on the Kansas peer review for physicians and hospitals, and went off because Senator Grassley from Iowa, who'd been a senator for 40 years by that time, thought we shouldn't have groups controlled by elderly white males. Well, I think he's 90 now, and has been in the Senate for 50 years. But nevertheless, we need to inspect our political representation, and let's promote our most important natural resource. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And lastly, let's bring to the podium Reverend John.
This morning, I am not a product of Topeka Public Schools. I'm a product of Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools in Los Angeles Unified School District. Reason I'm running is because of my passion for young people, and I agree with Ms. Lana. My #1 issue is the mental health of our young people. I am on the board of directors of the Boys and Girls Club of Topeka, and I attended our national conference back in May. And one of the general sessions addressed the concerns nationwide of the mental health crisis affecting youth between the ages of 12 and 18, and 70% in a nationwide survey had suffered some type of issue with mental depression. Of that 70%, 10% had tried or actually committed suicide. There's a lot of attention given to low test scores, and I believe that if they address some of the root causes of what's going on in the lives of young people, that those test scores will raise. So that's why I'm running, to advocate for our young people. Second to that is another problem I believe that's affecting our test scores and just our general behavior is food insecurity continues to be a problem. When I left here in May to go to that conference, it was 1 out of 7 young people go home at night hungry. Now it's down to 1 out of 9. That's still too much. Because if you look at the enrollment of Topeka Public Schools, that's about 1,200 of us kids are going home hungry. And it's kind of hard to think that you can achieve academically to your peak efficiency if you're hungry. So like I said, my number one passion in life are young people. Now I will say this, my wife and my children are all products of Topeka Public Schools. My wife and 2 daughters are graduates of Topeka High. I don't have anyone in my family that graduated from Topeka West that I can think of. But again, thanks for having me, and this type of forum is good. Civic engagement. If we can get some of our adults to be as engaged civically, what a better community will be. Thanks again.
First, I would just like to give another round of applause to all of the candidates. Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate all of you. Then I would go ahead. Then we would like to thank the organizer and organizers of this event. It is extremely important, so let's give a round of applause for that. And finally, just to close us all off, thank you guys all for being here, even if you're just here to watch or if you're supposed to be here. This is, again, extremely important, not just to our community, but everything that has been brought up from each of the candidates is extremely important, and it affects all of us directly and indirectly. And we have the power to change what we want in our community. So thank you guys for being here, and I hope you have a great evening.